Hey, welcome back everyone. Rob here from Ram Studio Comics. So in today's video, we're going to take a rough pose and then refine it. And so this is what we'll come up with. And what this is just part of a larger course that I have on drawing superheroes and also classes on Skillshare. I'll make sure there's links in the description box below if you want to learn more. But hopefully this lesson today you find informative, and I would love to know what you think. So without further ado, let's jump in and do some drawing. Alright, so in this one I just want to show you how to clean this up. So we'll take our rough sketch that's pretty loose, pretty gestural, pretty rough obviously, and just go in here and clean it up a little bit. So this is, not a hard thing to do. I always think of connect the dots whenever I do this. It's like the information's kind of there, so I have to use my imagination to bridge the gap. But I've drawn enough of these poses where if I'm warmed up, this usually isn't that big of a deal. But I do have to be warmed up. So a lot of times with poses, I really recommend starting the day and drawing a good 10 or 20 of them. And I know that's not always easy to do or whatever. But at the same time, it's almost like working out. I've never done it and then said, wow, I wish I wouldn't have wasted that time doing that. Like something about drawing poses for your storytelling to warm up for your day is just a great use of your time. And if you get to where you're drawing them in a simplified version of your own style, then they're so functional. Like you can use them for so many different aspects of your work, obviously all your character concepts, but you don't have to just redraw everything from scratch. Once you get a nice assortment of poses, and you're not to a point where you keep changing things over and over again, because your style is going to develop as you progress, obviously. But there's even times when I can pull an old pose and just update it with the new way that I'm drawing shoulders or anatomy or something I've changed. So that information is still good. So again, it's never wasted time to practice these. And something happens when you draw enough of these and you learn to loosen up. And again, think stylistically about your own characters, and you're drawing from your imagination, not from, you might be looking at comics, or you might be remembering a cool scene you read in a comic. That's fine. That's totally natural. But a lot of times you'll get to a point where you loosen up and you can just draw it from your imagination, and it feels natural. It feels easy. And once that happens, and it doesn't happen overnight, but it will happen, once that happens, your storytelling really opens up. You can start to do a lot more things. Now, it doesn't mean you're not going to run into stumbling blocks. I do it every day. I draw a certain pose and it looks good in my mind. I get it on the page and the arm is weird, the leg is weird, whatever. I'm not saying that's going to quit happening. I don't know that ever stops happening. You just get better at working through it. And you also learn a lot of cool techniques to adjust and cover things up when they're not right. So a popular term by Wally Woods, which I absolutely love, is when in doubt, black it out. And it's so helpful when you're drawing these scenes that are pretty complex, and you get some weird little overlap or something, and you start to pay attention and realize that you can just black that out and come back with some highlights or whatever. Some things you can really save the day with, even silhouettes. And so it's just being creative with your process and thinking on your feet, and kind of like not allowing yourself to feel like you're backed into a corner, because you never really are. It's just art, right? There's always a way to make it better. There's always a way to get through it. But at the time when you're trying and fighting through it, it seems very frustrating. It doesn't seem that easy, and I can totally relate to that. So with this one, I'm just having fun with it and cleaning it up. I'm making the character pretty stylized. I mean, that leg up close to us is pretty large, but I still like it. There's certain things that I don't mind when I'm doing. Like I've made the arms pretty massive, and that's pretty much one of my signature aspects to my style. And so overall, there's certain things I allow myself kind of a pass on, where could it be better? Yeah. Is it perfect? No, but it's fine. It's the style I like, and other people seem to like it too, so I'm okay. I like it. So, but it's mainly because I don't want to have to go back and try to make everything the best I can draw it every single time. That is such a frustrating way to produce art. Don't get me wrong, I want to improve. I do improve, and you'll improve daily, as an artist. But through repetition, through actually completing work, that's how you improve. Getting frustrated over every aspect just seems like a very counterproductive way to complete work. And if you don't believe me, just take a job for a client. You'll realize that you have to shed that really quickly. So hopefully the impact here is showing through. Like, I really wanted the feeling that this character was just punching right through the other individual, and the other individual's leaned over and falling into, essentially that energy. He's falling with that energy and trying to catch himself. But you see with the arm positioning and the awkwardness of the pose that he's not really doing that. Now, probably a more traditional way to draw this would have been the character's head completely up, where you see just the bottom of the chin, the arms flailed way back, right? They're just falling right off their feet. Okay, so there's lots of ways this could have went down. There's lots of ways that you can adjust this. The main thing that I want you to see and hopefully have a takeaway with on this is that the process for developing a couple characters with basic shapes and then assembling some anatomy with it, and then getting a feeling of action there. Now, over top of this, you could draw anything. This could be Superman, and kind of looks like maybe Superman and the Flash, or something. Wouldn't really be Batman. The other guy's a little too skinny maybe, but it could be anybody, right? So you could have fun with it and draw however you wanted over. You could put all the fixings and the trimmings and the clothing and all that jazz and a cool background. But the main thing is at first you have to get comfortable with drawing these poses rather quickly, in a timely manner, and in a way that you're not just stuck drawing the same thing. You're not drawing this because, well, I know I can draw this particular pose. I know I can draw an arm this way. Again, we all fall habit to that, but that's where you stagnate in your growth. But when you can learn to simplify the forms and simplify the bodies in a stylistic way, in a fun, energetic way, then you really start to experiment and shift the bodies and characters all over the place. And then you start paying better attention to your composition overall, not just your characters, but you start there, or at least I start there. I generally work out from there, but there's probably different ways to look at that. But you start paying more attention to the overall composition of your panels and your scenes, and that's where the magic happens. That's where you really start getting cool storytelling and neat panels and neat pinups and all that fun stuff. But to me, the figures are the main part. You got to get that right first. And once you feel strong and confident there, the rest can work together a lot better. But I spend majority of the time on the figures, the posing of them, learning how to draw the anatomy, how to assemble all this, and then past that, or probably above that, would be faces. So, where do we identify with the characters the most? The face. So I spend the most time drawing faces over and over again, trying to give life and energy into the expressions and the characters, and that doesn't happen overnight. Like, it's a nonstop battle to try to get better and better looking characters that look like they have real expressions, that have real energy and life on the page. So, and right here at this stage, just so you know, I'm just dropping in value. It's hopefully another little illustrative process to help you to see the volumes of the anatomy a bit better. So no real reason other than that. I will oftentimes do this and then go right over and ink that, but I'll still kind of adjust my inks accordingly. Like, I feel like this is I always tell people this is like me going over it with a Prismacolor marker. When I would work traditionally, I would do it this way, and I would, real light gray, I'd drop that in, and then I could ink, and I could see into the inks better. But it seemed like whenever I didn't do that, and I just started inking the shadows, I always figured out a way to mess it up, and I don't know why that is. It's almost like the light gray allows me to slowly build up to that strong, powerful, harsh, solid black ink. So just keep in mind, that's another little technique that I like to do, and that's what I'm doing here to hopefully just give you a better idea what these could look like as you progress to the next level. So that'll bring this one to a close. I hope you found it to be informative. More content on the way very soon. As always, keep drawing, keep having fun, and bye for now.